This is Madeline. All right, I'm going to give a quick intro to Madeline because now it's actually starting to record. So I'm just going to repeat myself one sentence ago. She's a rock star agent out in the Smokies. She actually invests in short-term rentals as well. She up in the mountains and on the beach as well in Florida. Y'all just closed on that, I saw. She's mom to three, but she's been helping investors in the Smokies buy for quite a while, including helping them flip and families move to the area permanently. And so she's going to tell us a little about her market, which is out in Knoxville and the Great Tennessee Smokies. So without further ado, I'm going to let her give her presentation.
Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to share my market here. I'm going to talk a little bit first about the Knoxville area, and then I'll get into the Greater Smoky Mountains, which is comprised of various towns within the mountains. Okay, but I'm going to introduce myself a little bit more and give you a little bit more details about who I am. Nelson definitely kind of nailed it with the bullet points here. But I'm a real estate agent in the area. I've been a realtor for 6 years. I'm with EXP Realty. I kind of bounced around over the years just because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I was just really wanting to find where I could just find my niche in the right place and environment. And EXP really has overexceeded my expectations. They're worldwide, and I really love them. I'm an investor of 2 properties. I actually started investing in the last year. My first short-term rental is in North Carolina. So it is on the other side of the Smokies, close to the tail of the dragon. I don't know if anybody knows where that is. But it's a super awesome road of 311 curves, I believe it is, or 318 in 11 miles. So if you are a car enthusiast and like speed, you definitely would want to check that out. And then I just closed on my second property in Panama City Beach, Florida, about 2 weeks ago. And before we started, I was telling Annie, I'm actually driving tonight through the night to set it up because I'd like to go live. I'm live right now, but I really want to update my pictures and get it started. I love helping people. I mean, my niche is in, helping people really achieve the goals that they have set. My background is in education. I was a special education teacher for 14 years in Long Island, New York, which is where I'm from. And I've always wanted to get into real estate, but again, I just love helping people. I'm a certified holistic health practitioner. I'm a health coach, a neurosensory therapist. Again, just being able to really guide people and help them along the way with whatever needs they have is really just a passion of mine. And when it comes to real estate, focusing on investors like myself is what I really enjoy. So the majority of my business comes from the Greater Smoky Mountains area, but I also help families find homes in the Knoxville area as well. And I'm starting to work with a lot more investors that are looking to do flips in the area because Knoxville, as you may know or may not know, is a growing area in the last year. So I will, and I also have a master's in special education and an advanced certificate in autism. So I'm kind of a nerd. I love learning. It's just kind of my thing. Just a little bit about my family real quick. These are my 3 lovely children that keep me very, very busy. The first is Lucas. My little girl is Natalia, my second. And then my third is my little surprise baby called Nico. And Nico definitely keeps me on my toes. And that's my husband, Jason, who is super supportive of everything that I do, my passions, my dreams. And he's just my, rock star husband and best friend. So let's kind of get into this market here, which is why we're all here tonight. So Knoxville, where is Knoxville? Well, Knoxville is the 3rd largest city here in the state of Tennessee. Memphis is number 1 and Nashville is number 2. But I have to tell you, Knoxville definitely has been growing at an exponential rate. You have people moving from all over the country, predominantly California and New York. So, those 2 coastal states. The latest research basically says that 50% of our new 50% of the sales in the last year have been from California and New York, 36% and 24 from New York. And when we talk about the Smoky Mountains, which is an amazing tourist area year round, that is comprised of Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and a little gem of a town called Townsend that not many people know about. That's right outside the Smokies. Eastern Tennessee is also the home of UT. I don't know if many of you know about the area as far as the university, but it is a massive school with almost 30,000 students in almost 30,000 students in the last year. If you know anything about the South, and this is something that I've been learning, they love college football and college basketball. It was kind of a surprise for me. I'm originally from New York, and people are just big into, the playoffs and, regular football. So it's definitely kind of a change. Big fans here when it comes to sports. And in 2020, Knoxville had about 5.3 million visitors. So just a lot of people coming into the area. And so because of where we are, our area really serves as a gateway to that tourism and recreation destinations of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Okay, and it is one of the largest protected land areas. I'm not sure if you knew that, but our park has over 500,000 acres, and it covers the Tennessee-North Carolina border. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm on the North Carolina border, which is absolutely beautiful. Lots, home to tons and tons of different species of plants and fungi and wildlife. And another great thing about this area, which I love to brag about, is that you're able to get to this area within a day's drive. 2/3 of the country is able to get here within a day. Another little tidbit that you may not know is that we are one of 2 states surrounded by 8 borders, which makes it really convenient for people, from, again, 2/3 of the country to get here and be able to drive. With COVID and everything happening, the pandemic, we know that a lot of people just don't necessarily want to, be on a plane. So that's another reason with the pandemic, it really has helped us grow our tourism tremendously. So the number of visitors that we've had this year is about 14.1 million. Okay, last year in 2020, well, now we're in early 2022, but in 2020 we had a little over 12 million visitors, which was the most number of visitors we've ever had. I mean, we've exceeded that in the last year by over 2 million people. They're saying that it's now the second most national visited park, which I was pretty surprised when I looked at the statistics. But they're saying that Blue Ridge Parkway is number 1, which is kind of it's still part of the Smoky Mountains if you think about it, but it's just running from Virginia all the way down through North Carolina, okay, through the North Carolina side of the Smokies. And they had 15.9 million visitors. And then the 3rd most visited park is in California, which I actually was surprised and didn't realize. The Golden Gate National Recreation Area. I was reading something about San Francisco and kind of somewhere in that area, and I may be wrong, but that's what the most recent statistics show. So when we talk about our weather, we have amazing weather. So I'm from New York. I'm used to the 4 seasons. I really actually enjoy the temperature here. You don't have that humidity, and the temperature is maybe about 15 degrees warmer than what I'm used to. March happens to be one of the rainiest seasons, or rainiest months, I'm sorry. But I have to say, we're noticing that the trend has been that April is a little rainier. July is one of the hottest. When we talk about, and which we'll talk about soon, when your STRs will perform the best, it is going to absolutely be in July. And October is one of the most popular times to visit because of our foliage season and the beautiful change in leaves. Fall is absolutely one of my favorite seasons here. So when we talk about the attractions and why people come to the Smokies, I mean, the biggest thing, as you know, as we all know, is, you know, you're in the mountains. So mountains mean, if you're in the mountains, that means that you're going to get tons of great hiking. Okay. So we have over 850 miles of trails, and we have lots of great attractions like Dollywood. You know, I don't know if you know who Dolly Parton is, but Dolly Parton started Dollywood, and she brought a lot of tourism and business into this area. Dollywood actually grew up in Sevier County in Sevierville. So some of the favorite places that I really like and are very popular are Cades Cove, Clingman's Dome. Not sure if any of you have heard of this. The Gatlinburg Sky Bridge is the longest suspended bridge in the nation. Anakisa is absolutely a spectacular event and something to definitely experience if you can. The islands of Pigeon Forge, downtown Gatlinburg, and a variety of other great things. Real quickly, I'll tell you about the Synchronous Firefly Festival. This is definitely a must on your bucket list. I'm actually still trying to get on and win this ticket. It only happens once a year in May, and you literally have to, it's like a lottery to be able to go, because it's such a amazing, you know, experience to see all these fireflies all in one, you know, place. Christmas time is also another amazing magical time of year. The Smokies do really do an amazing job when it comes to lighting and their shows, and you know, really just giving, you know, making people feel like giving them that Christmas spirit, you know, I guess we could say. So, you know, there's just something for everyone. You know, it's like whether it's hiking, whether it's like museums, whether it's shows, something all year round in Sevier County. So, you know, I really pride myself on the fact that I have this gem basically in my backyard. And people from all over the world, all over the country, and you know, different parts of the world as well. So let's kind of shift to Knox County, which is where I am. Okay, I know that many of us in the group either own short-term rentals or long-term rentals, or looking to get into one or the other. I will tell you that flipping is a great market to get into. Buying properties, you know, or buying properties to rent out, you know, for long-term rental. So our rent growth has exceeded our 5-year average, where with our rents being up 16, almost 17% from last year. I mean, that's huge for our area. Our home sale prices have gone up from a year ago by 24%. You know, as I'm sure most parts of the country, half of the homes, you know, are being sold within the first 5 days. That's happening here. People are over asking. New construction is a big thing that we're going to talk about if you're interested in the Smokies in the next few slides. But our home prices outpace. So this is pretty drastic and pretty amazing. It has outpaced Nashville, Chattanooga, and Memphis in 2021. So I don't know what it is about Knoxville, but everybody wants to be here, specifically the community, the town that I live in, which is called Farragut, which, you know, would be a great place to buy a home that is, you know, recessed and needs some updating, because that's a place that you're really going to be able to increase the value in and obviously make more of a profit. So I'm in Farragut, and the latest news or the latest statistics show that we are like number 2 in the state of Tennessee. You know, our schools are amazing, you know, but there is a certain caliber to this area. So it's very attractive to many people. So the data is just, you know, showing that those effective rents in Knoxville are nearly 30% higher than the pre-pandemic levels. And I just have here this diagram to show the growth in measures of the housing costs. You know, when you look at the MLS to Zillow, you know, everything is over, you know, pretty much 20%. So something to keep in mind if you're considering buying long-term properties or looking to flip in the area. So if we shift now to Sevier County, okay, I'm going to focus on the short-term rentals. I know a lot of us are wanting to learn about that area and what those what it could profit. So I have here this diagram where I've broken it down between Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and Townsend, and what their active short-term rentals are as far as numbers. So now this is from 2021. I haven't been able to gather. Obviously, next year we'll gather more from 2022, but I definitely see these numbers going up. So Sevierville, we have about 6,499 active short-term rentals. I want you to understand that when you think about the Smoky Mountains, Sevierville is the biggest town, shall we say, okay, that comprises the Smokies. So many people think of the Smoky Mountains and just think of Gatlinburg, but there are surrounding towns that make up the Smokies, okay? Our occupancy rates in this area are very, very high. On average, Sevierville is 83%, okay? And I'm gonna focus a little bit more on Sevierville, and I'll kind of go a little bit faster on the other ones. Average daily rate is about $272. Average rental revenue per month is about $5,341. And something that I want you to keep in mind if you're considering listing in this area, listing your property as a short-term rental, most of the people in this area are using Vrbo more to rent their properties than they are on Airbnb. And I noticed that different areas will use one more over the others. But I will tell you, VRBO, most of your business will come from VRBO, and a lot of my new clients have been telling me the same, okay? But I definitely encourage my clients to promote on both of them, but not everybody does. So one will choose one or the other, and data shows that about 37% are listing on both, okay? So when we start talking about number of bedrooms, I'm sorry, I just got distracted with that chat. When we start talking about numbers of bedrooms, about 32% of the short-term rentals have 2 bedrooms, okay? 22% have 1 bedroom, 20% have 3. When we start talking about those 4+ bedrooms, now obviously those are going to become less. You're catering to a particular, group of people. The numbers kind of change there. You're going to make more of a profit. Your numbers really get significant when we talk about return of investment once we start talking about 4 bedrooms. I personally like 1 bedrooms because in my opinion, I think they make the best return of investment. It's less wear and tear. You really can cater it to honeymooners, but as you can see, most people that are renting 2 bedrooms. Okay. And if you take a look, I'll give you a minute to kind of take a look at where we are with Pigeon Forge. And let me just backtrack real quick. Sevierville is one of the most short-term friendly towns. Okay. Pigeon Forge, there are parts of Pigeon Forge, specifically if we're talking about zoning, R1, if you're within the city limits, you cannot short-term rental. There are people that are grandfathered in that can rent, but once those properties are sold, they no longer are allowed to be rented. And if you are in the city limits of these communities, you have to get a rental permit. If you're in the county limits, you can kind of get away with not. I mean, I have clients that don't. I have clients that are really crazy about, making sure that they have all their I's dotted and T's dotted. Crossed, sorry. But definitely if you're in city limits, you have to have a permit, which I'll talk about in a little while. So if we take a look here, 77% average occupancy rate, you can kind of see the numbers similar. For whatever reason, statistically, Sevierville shows to rent a little bit better. Gatlinburg, which is, the Smokies, which is what we think of the Smokies. We first think of Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg is definitely a small area, as well as Pigeon Forge, and they kind of all cross. So at times you can be in Pigeon Forge, but think you're in Sevierville, and vice versa.
Do you happen to have some cash on cash numbers as well for what some investors are seeing, or some other investors in the group want to chime up about what the returns look like?
So I have some slides on the other one, but I can definitely move on if you want to kind of just go from I can move on. So I was just, sharing these numbers just so that you could kind of see what the average occupancy rates are and the average rental revenues. Okay. I'm going to move on here. Why can't I move on? hold on. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so here we have Gatlinburg and then Townsend. Townsend is a little gem that not a lot of people consider. You know, the rental revenue is definitely a little bit less when you look at the other towns, okay? All right. So if you look at and I call it the market pulse, okay? So the median average sold price of a property is about $430,000, which is about $243 a square foot. You know, Sevier County has a lot of people that just live in the area. You know, there's a lot of tourism, so people are working there and living in the community. In the last 2 years, it's been very difficult for, you know, the locals to buy because everything has just gone up at an exponential rate. So if you look at our numbers and how much we've increased since March of 2001, you know, we have increased in our real estate almost 46%. So about, you know, $134,000 more on average. And if you take a look at the market from last year to this year, you know, you could definitely see how those numbers have increased. So a 1-bedroom right now in the Smokies is anywhere from $475,000 to $600,000. Okay, and that one particular property can make you anywhere from, you know, if you rented well and you self-manage, you know, anywhere from 45 to about 65 is pretty average. A 2-bedroom is anywhere from 6 to 750, and that can make you anywhere from 75 to 100 if you're really aggressive and you've gone in with an amazing design. I'm going to share some of my clients' Airbnb links just to show you what a really good, clean, new look looks like. And I will say that those properties are going to do very, very well. A 3-bedroom is anywhere from 750 to 900,000, and a 3-bedroom is going to gross you anywhere from, you know, 100 to 135. Again, depending on the low end, you can be looking at like 85,000 on a low end. And now when you get into a 400-bedroom, 4-bedroom, now you start noticing a real, you know, just getting into that $1 million range. I'm not really seeing right now anything under $1 million for a 4-bedroom. But those numbers really aren't, you know, when you look at the MLS and how these realtors are selling it, you know, they're excited when they share that this property has made $120,000 a year. You know, $120,000 on $1 million property is terrible, you know? So you really need to analyze your numbers. Danny and George are really good. Kenny Lee is, you know, another guy I know is part of the team with Danny. They're very good when it comes to analyzing. So it's just super important to crunch those numbers, because I'll be honest with you, I'm an investor and I'm super honest. It's a tough market right now with everything increasing, interest rates going up. You know, there are deals, but they're definitely harder to come by. And anything 5-bedroom, now you're talking really in the $2 million range. So, you know, I'm all about numbers making sense. And, you know, it's one of those where you really have to crunch numbers. So just to really recap here, recapping what we talked about as far as the different towns. Sevierville is well known for Dollywood. And then here we can see what the average revenue potentials can be. And, you know, 61,000 is kind of, you know, low, but it really depends on what that property looks like. And I tell all my clients the same thing. How much money are you willing to put into updating the place? How much are you willing to put into providing in order to provide an experience? Because that's really the key when it comes to being a successful short-term, you know, rental host. Your revenue growth ratings are, you know, here we have 65 in Sevierville, 56% in Gatlinburg, 70% here in Pigeon Forge. And I got these from AirDNA. So, you know, the potential to grow that revenue is, you know, relatively high. Okay. The demand is there. Here in the Smokies, we're looking at an occupancy rate of 80 to 90% during the peak season. I have clients that are booked pretty much all year round. Your slow season in the Smokies absolutely is going to be December, January. I'm sorry, I'm lying. January, February is going to be your low. So December, you'll do great. And then you're going to slow down January and February. But that is a time when I tell my clients, hey, listen, do any of the maintenance work that you need to do, come down, visit your place, make sure that everything is running smoothly. Because a lot of these cabins that are being sold, and I'm honest, need work. They're very outdated. The owners just haven't been here for years. We've been renting in this area since the 60s. So, you have people that have grown up coming to this area and have bought properties or have properties that just been kind of, they're just inherited, and they've done well in rental programs, but they haven't necessarily come to see their places. Or you will have properties that are on the market that have been on rental programs. And so the rental companies are taking care of so-called taking care of the cabins. But, a lot of them just, need a lot of love, I guess you could say. But the investability rating, absolutely is high. It's there. It's an area that is, year-round tourism. People are coming at all different seasons. Okay, so investor score is pretty high when we're looking here in the Smokies. So, if you're interested in short-term rentals, I would definitely encourage you to start looking at AirDNA. I kind of have mixed feelings about AirDNA when it comes to our area. I personally prefer to use Rabu. I think it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Just more on with where our numbers are. But they're both good, and it's good to compare both of them. They'll tell you rentability, average rental income. Price Labs is a really good one. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, but I use that for my pricing algorithm for my rentals. And I have found that my properties are doing better than what the numbers are that they use for nightly rates. So I think I went up like 15 to 20%. So here we have some properties that I have sold. Okay, and last time this wasn't working for me, so I may have to get out and go through the internet. But this property sold for $355,000 in October. Today, it's worth over $450,000. And a few of these are in the community where Danny, George, Kenny, somebody else, one of my other clients own. And that area, the comps pretty well, and it has really good occupancy rate year round. So let's take a look at this one. This is, it's been doing this. Hold on one second. For whatever reason, my computer, and Annie, I had told you yesterday. Hold on one second. I just want you to take a look here at what a really nice property looks like. Anyway, can I get in? Hold on one second. Okay, no. Sorry, guys, it's not working for me. So let's take a look here. This property.
Do you want me to give it a try?
Yes, please. No, it's doing me Google. All right, can you kind of take over and I'll talk, Annie?
Let me try. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's start with questions. You can go from the top, Annie.
I know, I'm gonna click let me see if I can click the links first. Oh yeah, that is kind of weird. It was
Not letting you either?
I think. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
I can't see it. Hold on. What am I doing here? Where are you?
The first one, Exquisite Honeymoon Cabin.
Goodness, guys, I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, here it is. Okay, Sorry. All right. So this is a cabin in Echota community, which is in Sevierville. It's when you're kind of from the highway, from the highway. This is one of the first communities that you kind of hit, and it's right across from Smoky Mountain, which is our only water park here. So this client of mine bought this property and completely redid it. He has been fully booked since he started. So he came in, he power washed the property, he stained it, and he had an interior designer go in and kind of give it more of that modern feel. It still has that cabin feel, but it's just more modern. A lot of people in this area, the old schoolers, as I call them, they have the style of the bears and the deer and just very outdated. So this is a fresh look that they've kind of gone with, like a Scandinavian boho feel.
Madeline, when did this host start?
This host started in October. Okay. The next one sold for $455,000. Oh, does this look familiar? So this is George's
Yeah, that's ours.
cabin. Now I have to tell you, this one was a unique one. This happens to be my favorite cabin out of, well, one of my favorite cabins, because some of my clients have been blowing my mind. This cabin actually came like this. So the guys didn't really have to do a whole lot. This I got off market for them. And I was so excited when I shared it with them. And I actually had met Kenny. I hadn't met George nor Danny at the time. But, Kenny had communicated with me and, he was looking for an off market. And I'm like, dude, I got something really sweet that I think you'll love. That spiral staircase is so unique and it just gives it such charm.
While we're on this one, does anybody in the group have questions about this one? How we found it, how we acquired it, what the closing process looked like? I'm chuckling a bit because I didn't even recognize this house at first. None of us went to this one. This was
So many cabins, you don't recognize your own place.
one of we went into town for two of them. This third one, Madeline helped us out a lot, and we didn't have to go on site to set this one up to go live.
And during this time when I found this for them, I mean, this was a high peak season, multiple offers like crazy. People are over asking by, overpaying by tens of thousands. And I was really happy that I was able to find this one for them. It actually had come out of contract and the realtor had reached out to me and said, listen, it's coming out of contract for whatever reasons, these are the reasons. Are you interested? I said, of course I am. And we were able to work it out where we got them, I got them a $5,000 credit. Did you guys ever wind up fixing the issue?
Can't remember, Danny.
Which one? Sorry.
The credit that we got at closing.
No, I don't think so. We didn't touch that mother-in-law unit.
Yeah, scroll, pause right there.
And then
where is it?
The other great thing about this property is that it is the only one in the community grandfathered with a back building. So this property, you're able to build on and do a mother-in-law suite or a game room, add plumbing. It's a great deal.
That one, yeah, that's the. Yeah, so we found this little gem. It's undeveloped now. We have the option to fix this up. We haven't decided when we're gonna do that and how we're gonna play that. If it's gonna be an extra space, we'll probably treat it as a value add for the guests. I don't think it's possible to run two separate bookings on the same plot of land. It's too tight.
Yeah, I think you definitely should do it as part of one. But you know what? You're able to charge more per night.
That's right.
Which is great.
Hey, Madeline, I have a question about the kind of like the hot markets. I made a couple offers in Reno, Nevada, and that market is crazy. I'm worried about the appraisals. Like for this one, when you guys bought it, was it going to appraise for what you were asking for, or was it like increasing, like the comps justify that price?
So that's a great question. And I was going to talk about that in the next slide. Our appraisers for a little while were a little shaky. And so we were having people who were using appraisal gaps that were including appraisal gaps in their contracts were having to use that money. So for example, in order to get any of these cabins, you were having to offer, anywhere from 25 to 40,000 over, plus have an appraisal gap of a minimum of $15,000. So for a while, people were using them, but then it stabilized for months, actually for close to a year. It was stabilizing where these properties were appraising. So for example, this one, I think appraised for about 5,000 more. Or it appraised at it as is. George, do you remember?
Yeah, it's there's a funny pattern we noticed, at least when we were getting our appraisals magically came in right at asking.
Yeah. But like I said, for a while, people were having to pay that difference. I mean, they were pissed. It's not ideal, but it was, still the only way to have gotten that property.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, our last one we closed in November, and I think upward buying pressure has just gone up since then. I mean, it's gone up since we started. We started about a year ago.
Yeah.
I will also say George, Kenny, and Danny are constantly looking at the Facebook pages and scrounging for deals. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start coming in under, appraising at asking instead of having to go too much over. So this happens when you're really tuned into the market. Okay, let's get to questions because I don't want us to run out of time, and I know we have a long list of them. You want to start us from the top, Annie?
Yep, so I'm going to work on this, and then I just want to identify, I want you guys to know that we are a networking group, so I want to identify who are some of the investors that are in this group. So if we don't have time to go through everything, you guys can connect offline later on through Facebook. So we have 3 in the group today. We have Danny Wong, George Lang, we have Tracy Truong, and then other people that are in here today. There's Annie Leong, Anthony Chow, and there's a couple others in there. So let me start off with some of the questions from the top. The first question is from Jason. Jason Lynn is asking about Sevier County. Does it only cover Seviersville and not the other areas?
Sevier County makes up Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and Gallatin.
Okay, so 3 cities. Next
Parts
question.
of Townsend as well.
Oh, so there's actually four cities within the county. Okay, got it. Next question is from Anna. She wants to know, have there been any rumblings lately on crackdowns for short-term rentals near the Smokies?
We've been doing this since the 60s. Nope.
Amazing. Wow.
It's so I'll give an example of why it might not crack down. So this market, it's run by a lot of it's very dependent on entertainment, but the difference is I believe in my experience and looking at the formal prices, Smokies were more affordable, right? It was like $300,000-$400,000 price point at one point. Now compare that to Lake Tahoe, which are $1 million cabins. The difference is the people who buy $1 million homes don't want Airbnb people coming into their neighborhood. Whereas the $300,000-$400,000 homes, I imagine the economy kind of runs on that. And so maybe they're, am I wrong? Am I right? I don't know where I'm landing.
Our tourism is so big here that, it's not Nashville municipalities, you're going to want to worry about, Atlanta municipalities, that's something you're going to want to worry about. Here in Sevier County, it's not even something to really sweat because we've just been doing this for a while. Regardless of the numbers, tourism brings so much money that it's just not even a focus or really a conversation at the moment. But anything can change. So where we are right now, it's not a concern.
And how about like development? Are they building new cabins or new properties?
There's tons of new construction happening right now, which was going to be one of my slides. Right now, there are 1,200 permits for new builds. So that's where people are going, just because prices of cabins are so expensive. They're figuring, you know what, let me buy a nice piece of land, and there's tons of land available, and let me build a cabin. But a really good builder is going to be out at least a year. You have a lot of cheap builds happening, just like anywhere that's growing, you're going to have those builders that, are questionable for sure.
Next question is also from Jason. He wants to know, is there a strong preference in the kind of properties that investors should look for? For example, single family homes, more the modern type, or cabins?
So in the area, you're in the mountains. So ideally, people want to come to the Smokies for that cabin experience, right? But I will tell you, you're starting to see people getting very creative. I have a particular client and I can share pictures of what he's done. He took a single family home and he basically put D-log all around the exterior to make it a cabin feel, right? Look. And that is significantly cheaper to do, right? So definitely something to consider. And then he went in and added tongue and groove on some of the walls to accent. So that definitely is something to really consider, where you're able to maximize your return, because cabins at this point are just really high. So people are getting creative, and it's working.
So say you have a client who's a little bit on the budget friendly side, would you have them, consider condos, or maybe like a different part of the cities?
Repeat that. I'm sorry. I was reading the question on the side.
So don't worry. I'll be giving you the questions anyways. But so imagine you have a client who their budget is a little tight on, not too much. Would you recommend them looking at, say, getting a condo in the area, or pick another location that is more budget friendly?
So I will tell you this. I don't know if anybody knows who Bill Faith is, but he has been advising people to not buy, buying the places where everyone else is buying. So I would encourage people, just because I've been doing this for a little bit, look in the outskirt communities like Townsend, Cosby, Newport, because there is growth that is going to be happening there. And not only that, people like the quieter side. So for example, Cosby is on the other side of the Smoky Mountain entrance. And I have a client that has a 3-2 and he's making 100,000. And that property is about 30% less than what you're seeing in the immediate Smoky Mountains. Condos, you have to be very careful with. I actually have an off-market condo if anyone is interested in. Again, it's about the numbers. There are HOA fees that you need to include when it comes to figuring your returns, special assessments that you have to consider. But a condo, I can tell you, a 2-2 in Sevier County could do about 50,000, 50 to 60,000. And that right now can cost you about $315 to about $375. So condos are becoming a little bit more attractive to people right now. Again, it's a numbers game. So we always analyze each individual property, because what may work with one may not necessarily work on another.
Oh, can I ask generally? Oh, sorry. Can I ask, generally speaking, do those condos with HOA allow for short-term rentals?
Yes. There's about like 2 in Gatlinburg that do not. But that's why it's really important that your realtor knows the covenants and restrictions, goes over that with you. Make sure that you don't necessarily have to rent with a local property management company, because some of them do. They'll lock you in to only use the property management on site.
I'll also say we're in a current part of the market cycle where condos are going to start becoming more and more attractive, because single family homes have gotten so pricey. So it's not just Smokies, it's literally every city in the country is going to start seeing condos pick back up. That's just a natural trend of things.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Next question is from Jason. Are you seeing shortages in vendors, especially contractors available in the area? And do you recommend just acquiring turnkey properties rather than value add properties?
I am a risk taker. I like taking properties that need a little bit of work and, enhancing them, because that's really where you're going to make more of your return. Turnkey properties, I mean, who wouldn't want a turnkey property, right? But the reality is you're going to pay high price for that. So is it worth it? I have a great team of contractors, great team of just professionals in the area, contractors, plumbers, electricians, roofing companies. I really established great relationships with many people in the community, and I'm a Latina. So I have to say, my Latinos are just really hardworking, great people. So they come through for me and do really good work.
Okay, next question.
The next two questions are related about how saturated the market is for short-term rentals, and also how receptive or how hostile the local folks are to those who rent short-term rentals. What are your feelings about that?
You know, it's a good question. A lot of people will think or will say, oh my goodness, the market is saturated. It's not. When you think of the amount of people we have coming into the area, there is just not enough properties out there, you know? So I always tell people, no, it's not saturated, you know, and there's just not enough, there's just not enough properties. I mean,
I'm going to play devil's advocate on this. If you look at the numbers, though, there's a 30% increase in the number of listings, but there's a 16% increase in the number of visitors to the park. So do that with the numbers as you may.
But if you look at what, if you look at the listings that are currently on the market, is that what you're talking about? You're in a much higher price point. You know, you're really not seeing anything on the market right now under 650. So that is why you're starting to see a lot more people building in the area. You know, I will tell you this. The pandemic really has, you know, been a catalyst to the real estate in this area, because prior to COVID, our numbers were not as strong, you know? And so I always tell people, you know, you kind of have to look at the whole picture, right? A lot of people just focus on, you know, last year and the year before, but pre-pandemic, people were doing roughly anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 less than they made in 2020. Some people made $50,000 more, you know? So I think that with, and I see it with COVID, it really has blown up this area that people didn't even know where the Smokies were. I mean, people were like, Smokies, like Tennessee, Gatlinburg, you know, and with COVID and everything, people, you know, have a researching, stir crazy, where can I go? Where can I drive to? So it really has increased, you know, the knowledge of what we have. So I don't know, I guess we'll have to kind of see. But as far as where we are, I don't see us being like a Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, but I also don't see our real estate going down much. I think it's going to be kind of steady. I don't see it really going up more than what it's at. But at this moment, I will tell you this, with interest rates going up, we are not having that crazy pool of buyers coming in. Buyers are definitely being more reserved. They are, you know, just more cautious. They're looking at their numbers. There are still deals out there, but again, you know, you have to analyze them.
Okay, adding to the question list, following up is, how do folks feel, the locals feel about the STR?
They don't mind it. You know, this is a tourist area, you know, you have a lot of people. So a lot of people that live in Sevier County, for the most part, work locally, you know, work in the tourism industry. There's tons and tons of attractions. I promise you, you can't come here and do the same thing, you know, have enough time to do everything. There's just so much. Anakista, you know, the downtown Gatlinburg, Dollywood, the museums, just the hikes alone. If you're into nature, it'll take you years to get through all of those trails.
It was very beautiful. I visited, by the way, Tracy's cabin.
We have so many mountains, Mount LeConte. I mean, the list can go on and on. I mean, I have to say, I'm a New Yorker at heart, but I'm so proud to be a Tennessean. The people here are so incredibly helpful. They're humble. You know, we just had fires. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but we literally had 700 acres of our Smokies gone. 300 homes were lost. The amount of love and support that the community showed in trying to help people really just says a lot about, you know, Tennesseans. So
I want to give a shout out to the Tracy's Airbnb, which was beautiful. So was Danny's and Kenny's and George's, but they were still working on it at the time. But yeah, no, it was. Tracy's got a beautiful,
amazing A-frame, like a 4-bedroom.
It's so beautiful, like it blows your mind.
I know you guys have to leave, but can we hear from Danny? And Danny just bought his last property from me. It was another kind of off-market deal that I got him. You want to tell us, Danny?
Yeah, it was right before Atlanta field trip. So I flew out there 5 days before, spent 5 days buying a bunch of supplies and whatnot, and handing it off to my designer to help me put things together, design it and everything. I was literally right before my flight to Atlanta, I was putting Endorandic chairs together before my flight so I can get it going. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Madeline came to me with this deal and I was trying to find people for her, and everybody was like, no, I can't. And then I was like, all right, I'll take it. So
well, there was one.
Yeah, there was one. Yeah, there was one person who wanted it. Then I was like, no, it's mine. I'm taking it. So I had to
fight about it. I'm like, I'm out of it. Whoever, you know.
Yeah, it was over the weekend and I didn't have pre-approval. I didn't have anything. So I had to call, email, text, and get with my network to see who can get this for me. And yeah, and it went through, but I ended up doing a DSCR loan. So yeah, and I didn't close until the day before I flew out. So I bought tickets already, not knowing I was closing or not. And I was getting real nervous about that.
Yeah, that was tough. So I know you guys have to get ready for your next meeting, but you know, I will end with this. The key to being successful in the short-term rental world here in the Smokies is you definitely have to have a vision in being unique with your cabin, home, whatever it is that you have. And really just focus on providing an experience. I mean, when you're in the short-term rental world, you're in the hospitality world. So you just want to make sure that, you know, you're just keeping in mind, you are providing an experience for your guests. And I promise you, you will do very, very well. And that goes that goes just not for the Smokies, it's the beach or wherever you are. You know, provide that experience and don't be cheap, you know, go, you know, put nice things in there, you know, just put nice things that, you know, just nice decor, you know, something different. And I will tell you, people like different. And Danny will definitely, you know, share his link when he, you know, when he's ready. I have some other ones there. So what I can do is I can share the link and then you guys can check out some of those other Airbnb properties.
I've got a quick question for everyone. It's probably hopefully easy to answer. On average, how much did it cost to renovate / update cabin? I guess just how much did it cost in renovation, rehab on each cabin, and then how much would it cost in furnishing for you guys after you're finished rehabbing?
Yeah, I can give a rough estimate right now. So my place, I didn't need much rehab, and I got a credit for a septic tank that I need to replace. So that was fine. But as of right now, I'm 49 grand in. So I bought everything new. Like, I even had like my refrigerator, my stove, all the appliances were working, but I replaced it all, even though it was still working. The sofa, I mean, the couches, like all the couches, I replaced it because I wanted it a different look and a different feel. But yeah, I think just from buying with George and Kenny, on our second one, we changed the look of it, and now it's pretty much, it's met the like 75th percentile every month, and that's what you want, right? That's how you're gonna get bookings. That's how you get with more bookings equals super host, right? With super host status, then you can get more, you can raise your rates and whatnot.
Yep, that's awesome.
Sure. All right, thank you all. Hopefully that helps you guys with underwriting and getting prepared to buy the next one. If you guys have questions, reach out directly to Madeline or one of the other investors in town. So let's see, and thank you for your time. I think we're going to talk about 22 units worth of duplexes out in Atlanta. So if you guys are here for that, feel free to stay tuned.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Annie, Nelson, thank you so much for inviting me to share the Smokies with you.
drop your email, please, and number so that people know how to reach you.
Yes, yes. All right, you guys have a good one. I'm getting ready to get on the road. That's
All right, congrats on your new short-term rental. So everyone, that was Madeline. She's based off in the Smoky Mountains in the Tennessee and also in Knoxville. She's been helping a lot of the SARE members with getting their cabin set up in the Smokies Mountain. Major reason why I wanted to work with her and to get her set up is not only about her skill in choosing the right properties, but she also has a lot of connections for the new investors who are trying to get in, trying to figure out how to, find people to help them set up where they're cleaners. And also we have a large SARE family over there that's been operating their entire business from remote. There's actually a giant group of us Californians doing it.
Yeah.
So
it's been like a year now, right? So.
Yeah, it's exactly almost about a year. So we do have that community set up for you to help you grow. We take care of each other on that. So thank you again, Madeline. So she's going to be dropping her contacts in here and then also onto the Facebook group. I will be recording it and I'm going to be chopping it right here so that I'm going to upload over to YouTube for those who missed it, and I'll put it on. So right now I'm going to
And anyone that wants the presentation, because I didn't get to finish, I had some other data to share, shoot me an email or a text or, Facebook message and I will send it over.
Perfect.
Thank you.